Hey everyone, my name is Matt. Welcome to my shop. Today's May 23rd and this is my weekly shop update. So I have been traveling most of the month, so it's kind of nice to be back and know I'm not going anywhere for a little while. So let me kind of work backwards, I guess. So last weekend I was in Des Moines at Weekend with Wood. I was, look at that, teacher man. I had two sessions there. I did one on dealing with defects, and I did the other one on working with live edge lumber, and I repeated those Friday and Saturday. So thank you to everyone who came by my class. I hope you enjoyed it. I try to make it at least somewhat entertaining and maybe even informative. And then before that, I was over in the UK. The prior weekend, I was at Maker Central, so that was an amazing show as it was last year. There were so many people, and I think it was double the size as it was last year, and it was just absolutely I don't want to say overwhelming because it has like a negative connotation, but it's overwhelming how many people turned out to that event. So I spent both days at the Triton booth hanging out there, meeting people and showing off the guitars. With April, prior to Maker Central, we spent a whole week making custom guitars at Crimson Guitars, and that was absolutely incredible. So thank you to everyone who came to the meetup there as well. So the big theme here is thank you to everyone that I interacted with over the last few weeks. It was really great to see and meet everybody and just kind of chat and all that stuff. So thanks for being so friendly, I guess. So this week I got a new log to show you. We're gonna do a little let me tell you something about making a custom guitar right here, and viewer projects, because I literally have not been in the shop doing anything, so I have nothing to talk about shop related this week. So let me show you some log thing. So how is that for a log? So I got back from Weekend with Wood on Sunday, and I decided that since I was gone so much, I was going to take Monday and Tuesday as kind of like a rest day, since I hadn't had an actual vacation for a while. And a viewer reached out and said that they had this log sitting in their yard for about 6 months. They had planned to cut it themselves, but time got away from them and they needed to get it out of their yard. So they asked me if I wanted it, and I said yes indeed. And I figured what better leisure thing to do on a leisure day than go pick up a big log. So this is a silver maple log. It has a diameter here at the butt of 48 inches. The narrow area here in the middle is 42, and it's about 48 again down there at the crotches. Yes, crotches, there are 5 limbs over there, so figuring out which orientation to cut this thing into will be a good mental exercise for me. But the estimated weight on this guy is right at 5,000 pounds. So as far as I can remember, this is the biggest, heaviest thing I've had on the trailer. The lift had absolutely no problem with it. And it was a quick drive back. It was only 4 miles back on regular surface city streets. So 4 miles at 35 miles an hour. Pretty leisurely drive back for my leisure day. So I'll get this thing offloaded probably tomorrow when I have some time. It's been kind of rainy here this week, and maybe mill it up next week or the week after. I have to find a spot for it because, yeah, I don't really have a spot for it, but that doesn't ever stop me. So custom guitar building. First off, I have to say that I have not had that much fun in a ridiculously long time. It was so much fun to be around so many positive people that it was really fun to be around and just be doing some like woodworking and enjoying that process. Triton Tools was there, and they set the whole thing up and they're producing a video. So the nice thing there was I was just able to focus on the actual woodworking and not to worry about filming, which was a welcome change of pace from what I am used to. Triton will have a video, April will have a video, Crimson will have a video, and Triton will also be sharing the footage with me so I can put together a little video about my perspective on making this thing. And this was an absolute blast to make. So on the first day, I had my blank there that I did a video on preparing, so that was ready to go. And this is where kind of things started to click for me, because I had no idea kind of going into this where the actual line of what you have to do and what is an area of creative freedom, I guess. So we laid the template for this body style down on the piece of wood, and I was like, man, it really stinks to like cut off all this extra wood here. And Ben was like, then just don't. And something clicked in my mind where I'm like, I can literally do anything. So I decided to leave the majority of the wood intact and just do a relief carving of the actual normal profile for this guitar. And I thought that was kind of a cool idea. None of the luthiers there had ever seen anything like that, so that's kind of a cool detail. So up here on top of the neck is the headstock, which, as an aside, if anyone knows why people decide this is a headstock, this is a neck, and this is a body, and not a body stock and not a neck stock, but this is a headstock, please tell me. That is one of the more frustrating things I've learned about guitars this month. So I took a piece of the body and I attached that here to the neck and the head area, and that's also banded with a piece of black stained poplar veneer, so it kind of matches the spalt lines in the wood from the body, and I think that adds for a nice little detail. I also carved these little like ear things up here just to kind of ease that transition between where the neck kind of curves down into the head. On the back side, I added a relief carving. I can turn it around here. Back down in here, and that is sort of indicative, or I guess similar to the relief carving I did on the body. And then on the back of the actual body, that's got a bevel on it, so it has a little bit more of a comfort factor sitting against your body, and it takes off some of the weight. That piece of maple I used has a good amount of figure in there, and on the guitar we used a satin lacquer so this thing would cure so we can get it to Maker Central in time, as opposed to doing an oil finish which would need time to cure. So, still looks pretty darn good. I did just one pickup on the, down here towards the neck, instead of the dual pickups, because I wanted to, of course, leave more wood intact, and that was the way to do that. Now the fretboard. So the fretboard material itself is Zerakote, and that was just a fretboard blank that they had there in their store that they gave me for my guitar. The frets are cut using a template they had there, but all of the individual frets are pressed in by hand, or I guess hammered in by hand. Then the whole thing is flattened, and that's going to leave a bunch of flat spots in all the frets. So then every single fret is manually shaped back to have a curved profile. The ends are tapered down nicely so they feel nice against the fingers. And I have a perfectly flat and perfect fretboard, which I hear is very important. So that is my custom guitar. I am super, super thrilled with the way this thing turned out, and I am very likely to make a few more of these things. I really just enjoyed the overall process, and the nice thing about at least the electric solid body guitars is the process is fairly quick. April and I finished our guitars in just under 5 days, and we weren't really working a lot hard either. So this is something that I could kind of play around with and knock out in maybe a few weeks, kind of working on it here and there in the shop, and have something that I think is absolutely beautiful, even though I can't play it, but people that can play it could play it, I guess. So I gotta find a spot for this thing. I really want to hang it here in the shop because I like looking at it, but I don't really know where I'd hang it. I do have this nice retro case that the nice folks at Crimson Guitars gave me for my guitar, so there's that. So if you're not already subscribed to and follow Crimson Guitars, definitely check them out. They are super nice. Ben there, kind of the face of the brand, super nice to work with and extremely knowledgeable, as are all of the luthiers at the school. The nice thing is April and I were the first people in the new student area, so they just expanded that whole teaching section of the school there. So if you want to go over there and take a class, I highly, highly recommend it. It is incredibly fun. So as a parting gift, Ben gave me this skew block rabbet plane. So it's the same size as a regular block plane, but the blade is actually at a skew angle, so you get a nice shear cut as you're making those cuts, and the whole side here is removable, so you can get right up into an inside corner and clean it up that way. If you're not familiar with Ben's vintage tool shop, that is one of the things you can get there. I also picked up some carving gouges, which are still wrapped in masking tape, and a fun set of dividers to go into the new tool cabinet. So I guess this thing will probably fill up a little faster than I anticipated, but that's all right. The other thing I was working on this week is editing down the Guild series into the summary video for the YouTube channel, so that should be out this weekend. I am just about done with that, and it feels good to have that behind me as well. So look for that, hopefully, this weekend. So that's what I've been up to the last few weeks. Let's take a look at some viewer projects. First this week are a set of boxes by Reverend Marx. The sides of the boxes are sapele, the tops and bottoms are maple. The corners are mitered with ebony splines, and the top slides open like a pencil box. The tops feature laser engraved designs, and both boxes were finished with shellac and paste wax. And if you're interested, you can find a build article over on his website. I'll leave a link to that down in the description. Next is a serving tray by Russell. Russell made the serving tray for his wife. It was his first project with half-line dovetails, and is finished with clear shellac and paste wax. Next this week is a segmented vase by Russell. Well, a different Russell. It's 8 inches tall, 7 inches wide, and is made up of 432 pieces of maple and purple heart. Next this week is a ping pong table by Darrick. It's made from walnut plywood with white oak trim and walnut accents. It features a solid walnut and white oak chevron pattern in the center of the table. Darrick also made a couple of custom paddles with walnut handles to go with it, and you can find more of Darrick's work over on Instagram. So I think that's about all for me this week. Thank you as always for watching. I greatly appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments about anything about guitar making, I may or may not know the answer. So feel free to leave me a comment down below. And until next time, happy woodworking.